Kim Kardashian created this fragrance. No, there's a perfumer who made it. And now these fragrance houses are starting to share that information and make these perfumers more like celebrities.
Hi, and welcome to Not a Perfumery podcast, where we talk about scents in relation to wellness, art, and innovation. My guest for the today's episode is Jenna Troyli. Jenna is the managing editor of Perfumer&Flavorist Plus. She is also the conference moderator for the World Perfumery Congress. Jenna reports on the latest news, ingredients, regulatory updates, and technologies in the flavor and fragrance industry. So Jenna, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And also you may hear my cat as we go along. So she just let out a small meow as you were introducing.
Oh, so beautiful. I guess I could also hear that. Yeah. So Jenna, my first question to you is when I was preparing for the episode, I was thinking what is the best way to describe what Perfumer&Flavorist Plus is to the listeners? Because maybe someone doesn't know that. And to me, the best analogy was that it does remind me of Vogue, but in the flavor and fragrance industry.
Yeah, I love that. I think that it's super funny because whenever anybody asks me what I do and I say, oh, I'm a managing editor of Perfumer&Flavorist Plus, they go, so you're a perfumer and you make perfumes. No, I can't. No, I'm not. But, I think that, and that's as far as it goes for them wanting to understand it. But so Perfumer&Flavorist Plus covers anything from the ingredients that perfumer and flavorists use, because they a lot of times use the same flavor and fragrance houses, to the technology that they use to make their individual formulas, whether and it's anything that smells good, not just perfume. For fragrance specialists, it's deodorants, laundry care, home care, ambient scent. So all the way until who's making it. And those are the perfumers or the flavorists themselves. So I get to speak to them and see what trends are driving innovation behind the scenes, what kind of regulatory issues are happening, and how they're navigating them. So that's kind of everything that I'm focused on for reporting. I do not have a nose. I wish I did. But unfortunately, I do not.
Again, what you're saying is just seems like yet kind of thing, because in the movie The Devil Wears Prada, yeah, so Anne Hathaway, she knew nothing probably about the fashion industry before joining it, but since you've joined, and I'm interested, what have you been doing before that? Maybe people who are asking you, well, maybe you are a perfumer, they're just seeing the future.
Oh, I like that.
Something. Yeah, maybe.
Okay. I don't mind that. Well, since I joined 3 years ago, and I've been to a lot of round tables, smelling ingredients, and, listening to the way that perfumers talk about how they could use a specific ingredient in a formula is really exciting to kind of see how their brain works, and they consider themselves to be artists. And I completely agree in that way. Before this job, I was a food and drink editor for a newspaper in Florida. And then people were like, oh, so you're a restaurant critic. And I was like, no, I don't do that either. But, so I was more on the flavor side, and now I get to be more on the fragrance side, which is so exciting because, World Perfumery Congress is this summer, and I got to create a whole lineup of, perfumer and fragrance specialists to talk about what's exciting right now. So it's really cool.
I would call it you knew that it's something you liked and you just continued working in that.
Yeah, I got really lucky, I think, because I was in kind of more the restaurant side of reporting, and now I get to be on who's making it taste good in the first place. But also I tell this story, and when I was in middle school, I would wear Bath and Body Works fragrances, and I didn't realize obviously someone's making that. And now I got to meet people who have made iconic Bath and Body Works fragrances. So that's really cool to see the behind the curtain.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I wanted to ask about one more thing about the Perfumer&Flavorist as an magazine. I remember because I started reading it back in, I guess, 2017. I was receiving it in paper. I lived in Sweden at the time, but I received it still from the States. I was so surprised by that fact that this is even possible. Are there still many people who do order it in paper, or you just don't even have it right now? Because I don't know, I redid it.
Oh, no, yeah, you can get a paper copy. It's actually really funny whenever we go to international events, people are like, excuse me, why hasn't my paper copy showed up on my door yet? And I'm like, well, it's not the first. Give it a couple weeks, but it still comes and it's so exciting. And it's really nice to be able to see everything. Like when we do a profile of someone, they get to have a hard copy. And sometimes their moms are like, can I have your autograph? Which I think is really sweet that like these adults in the industry still are like signing autographs for their parents. But yeah, paper copies still exist and digital editions still come right to your email inbox. So whatever is your preferred choice of reading.
And I need to ask, what does plus stand for? And in what moment did it appear? Because I was pretty sure that it was Perfumer and Flavorist all the time. And then now I discovered it's a plus.
Yes. I loved during the intro, you were like, plus. So I appreciate that, which is super funny. It came right before I started. So in 2020, it's pluses for like wellness. So there's been an entirely new wellness aspect added to both flavor and fragrance, especially during COVID-19. That, you know, functional fragrances were happening. So if you smell something, it'll make you feel better or like make you happy, make you relax. So it's kind of things like that. We wanted to incorporate wellness. So that's where the plus comes in.
Thank you. Now it's clear. and if at any point you decide if plus something else, and a plus artificial intelligence or plus, I don't know,
That's
plus art,
true.
plus.
It just keeps growing.
Yeah. Since you mentioned wellness as also one of the parts of the Perfume and Flavors today, how do you curate the topics for each magazine?
Sure, that's a good question. It is funny though, too, because since it is a B2B magazine, those flavorists are speaking such industry language that sometimes I have to be like, can you break that down for me? What's the layman's term?
Yeah. I know
Tell
that
me
you
what
also
that
supported
means.
people like me. Yeah.
Because there are people who just are genuine lovers and who are genuinely like interested in the flavor and fragrance industry. So that has to just be more accessible. So that's something that we're actively working on, just so you know. But as far as our editorial calendar goes, in the beginning, or sorry, more so like at the end of the year, we'll plan out kind of what's happening and what each issue will be. Usually May is our mint issue. But just because it sounds good, May mint issue. But
Chanel number 5, like also thought the same. Yeah.
right. But this year, since we're going to be in Geneva for World Perfumery Congress, that magazine is dedicated to World Perfumery Congress. So it'll be switched this year. So usually at the end of the year, we go, okay, what's trending right now? And also what goes together. So there will be like a wellness issue where we talk about functional fragrances and we also talk about functional flavors. So just kind of pairing those to see which will go together and how we can kind of tap both industries in a similar direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does indeed. But do you have situations like a lot of people are writing you something like, well, yeah, you always give these call for papers, like I guess 2 times a year, if I'm not wrong. And sometimes like someone sends you something totally not related to the subject, and well, accidentally you think that it's interesting. So what do you do? Or do you like try to still stick to some schedule and postpone like stories like that?
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. No, if it's random, usually we find a way to work it into the issue anyway. There will always kind of be some wild outliers in each issue, that you can't help that just so happen to also be very timely. But what's funny is that I work 2 months ahead of time. So right now my brain is in May because I'm doing the May issue. So that's my timeline's kind of always like that. But like for instance, in the March issue, it's supposed to all be about the future. And I had just met this author in Berlin during IFIAT, and he wanted to write about the history of a flavor and fragrance company that was around like a century ago. And I was like, well, it's really cool photos
Mhm.
and I want this to already be online. So let's just publish it with it. So I just kind of worked it in as like, while talking about the future, let's do a nod to the past. So, yeah, sometimes you just can't help it. And it's just too good a content to let go. But we can usually put that online first and then see where it can work in a future issue.
I see. And for the listeners who like just journalists who desperately want to write something for you, we should maybe highlight it that it's totally possible to send you any paper and you will just, with your colleagues, choose whether it's relevant or not.
Absolutely. I think even if it's over my head and it's someone who it's a very scientific paper, we have a board of advisors who can look over it and say, oh my gosh, I'd like to learn more. Let's put this in print. Yeah, feel free to email me, jtroyli@alurate.com. Or there's a submission portal on our website too. So whichever is easiest for you. But yeah, we're always taking submissions. And just kind of keep in mind that we're working 2 months at a time. So if you want to pitch something, pitch it for June or beyond.
The thing is that seems like the goal of, if there is any goal for the Perfume and Flavors Plus, is just to keep the most updated. I don't even know how to put it better, to curate the most relevant information from the industry, or maybe you could somehow else put it better than me. So like,
Yeah, absolutely. So usually each issue we have, the industry news section where we catch you up on who's new to the industry or has been um, promoted. We also talk about like new production sites, like DSM Firmenich just launched 2 new fragrance or perfumery ingredient production sites in France. So we'll have that in an issue. And then we start doing profiles and then we'll kind of touch on like, let me just think. In April, we have an extracts, 2 extracts articles, and they're from flavorists who are talking about how to utilize extracts now in the industry versus, years ago. So it's kind of just talking about how things are evolving. So, I mean, you're right. It's the most up-to-date information that we can give to the industry behind the scenes. So that people really for the makers, it's for the makers and for the brands out there looking to see what trends are driving these new updates. So you're not wrong. You're pretty spot on. I can't really update you.
anyways, thank you for just supporting what I said. But it does seem like maybe you also noticed during the last years and during the time you are in Perfume and Flavors Plus that we are really moving from secrecy to more openness. Like, have you really felt it in your work, or it's just we talk about this as a trend, but maybe it's not nothing you've ever experienced?
No, absolutely. And I think that it's something that's really exciting too. It used to be like, oh no, Kim Kardashian created this fragrance. No, there's a perfumer who made it. And now these fragrance houses are starting to share that information and make these perfumers more like celebrities and show their faces. So that's something completely new. Before that, maybe you'd have a perfumer go out on their own and create their own brand, like Francis Kurkdjian, who is incredible. And then you're also having people who are still at the fragrance houses who are getting their own kind of spotlight now, which I think is really cool.
It's not a secret, like for the listeners, so that Perfume and Flavors Plus is not the only, as we know now, printed copy, digital edition, but also video casts and podcasts. What place does this take in your work?
Yeah. Well, I think that as far as our podcast and video cast go, some people can get really fatigued just reading and they want to see people talking and hearing people talking because it makes for a more dynamic conversation. So those have been really exciting. Just a few months ago, I had Sumit Bhasin from Estee Lauder, Mark Natowski, who was with Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, very cool episode. Yeah.
So that was great on natural versus synthetic ingredients. So it was nice to have all of them in one place discussing rather than it just being another article. But yeah, so those are more for just kind of like to spice things up, but those are all on our website, not so much like you can't find them on Spotify, you can't find them anywhere else. So that is something that maybe we're thinking about working on, but we also have webcasts where people can you log in for free or you register for free, and people will kind of walk you through their presentation. Sometimes they have samples from companies, which are cool. So that's something to look into if you are a perfumer. Just kind of be on alert for those webcasts that have samples. So then you can go along and smell with their creators. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, something new for me as well. So yeah, that's interesting. So it's like, more sort of community which gathers at your website, and there you could just get what you want. Do you want to listen? Do you want to see something? Do you want to smell something eventually? So yeah, it's a cool place. So that's why I understand that maybe you don't even need Spotify, or maybe you don't even need other channels, because they will maybe take portion of these people.
That's true. That's a good point. I know. It's worth kind of looking into. I think that it's exciting, but it's like, okay, here's the link if you want to listen. So we'll see.
Yeah, totally. And I have probably last question about your work as a managing editor, because further we will go to the World Perfumery Congress. But this question is maybe a bit personal, but was there maybe one topic or in anywhere in flavors or in fragrances which you've changed your attitude towards completely during your work? So maybe, like, as an example, you thought that synthetics is bad, and now you know that, yeah, it's not that simple, or something else.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good question. I guess I'll kind of hop on that train of what you just mentioned. Not so much that I thought synthetics were bad, but I didn't really understand what that word meant. And I think that for so long, it's had like a negative connotation around it. So when I spoke with perfumers and fragrance creators about it, that it's really just another word for like an alternative or something that can help one elongate the fragrance, especially when there are, natural disasters happening. What are you going to do? You can have a replacement. Doesn't mean that it's not good for you. It just means that it's different from natural, but trying to mimic the same things. So I think that that's been really interesting to see that really heat up, especially with social media. Now you have so many of these influencers who don't necessarily have all the facts behind the claims that they're making, which is pretty tough.
Yeah, something you've talked about with the guests we've mentioned. We definitely will leave a link to these video casts. I guess it's called videocast. Yeah, I just liked that. Yeah, it was a sort of a panel, but like video panel. Yeah, I understand. So talking about the Congress, the next big thing, or maybe the biggest thing. So like it's probably the second Congress for you, or because
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my second Congress.
Yeah, and the first overseas.
First overseas, that's right. The first overseas for me.
Stalkered in your stalkered? Like in your Instagram, I've just...
Oh, you stalked my Instagram.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I saw that you've been to Geneva already to like probably see the spots and everything.
Oh, you stalked my personal Instagram?
I guess it was the only I could discover,
Okay.
but it's open.
It is. It's public. It's public.
Yeah, but because like, yeah, when you text Jenna Troyli, it's one of the things you see in Google. Yeah, so just for you to know, I guess you've never Googled yourself. It's only celebrities do that. Or
That's so funny. No. Yeah, that's true. I've been to Geneva twice, and it's beautiful. I've been in like the summertime, and I've been in the winter. I'm really excited about going back. Pal Expo's massive. Have you ever been to Pal Expo?
No.
They usually have like car expeditions there. So they fit entire cars on the floors. They have watch expeditions, of course, because it's Switzerland. So yeah, it'll be really great.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good. Yeah.
But I need to ask, why did you decide on Switzerland? Because the last time I joined the Congress, it was in 2018 and it was in Nice. So yeah, I could imagine like France, Switzerland, the fragrance and flavor industries. Why Switzerland? And have you thought about it for a while?
Right. No, it's funny because that was decided before I came on staff, but it's a topic that is always discussed, especially when we're saying we're going to Geneva and people are like, but Nice was so amazing. And yes, it was so amazing. And we had record-breaking attendance, but now like the convention center there is just too small for what we're going to put on, which is unfortunate. But I think that maybe they're going through construction or something eventually. But
But it's really not big. Like what comparing what you've said about the Palais Expo now, it was pretty small, I guess, for the car exhibition. It wouldn't be feasible.
Absolutely. So I think that this kind of came up as an opportunity, and it made sense because some of the fragrance houses do end up having some of their headquarters in Geneva. So I think that that worked out. But really, I just think that at the time it was somewhere new and easy for Europeans and kind of people who aren't in the US as a quicker trip to get to. So that's kind of the gist.
Yeah, but I think it's wise enough to have like each second congress in Europe and each first. Like, yeah, you got me. But I wanted to ask maybe for the listeners who don't know, who is this event for, like generally?
Absolutely. So one, it's for journalists. We love to have press. Let me know if you're a press person working in the fragrance industry and we can set you with a press pass. But it's for the makers of fragrances. So perfumers, people who are sourcing ingredients, because there's a massive expo hall that has all of the latest ingredients at all of our exhibitor stands, which is really exciting for you to walk around and go and smell and meet people from the industry. It's for producers. It's for buyers. It's for everyone in the fragrance industry. And we also have conference sessions as well as the expo hall. So
Those
3 days
amazing.
worth of conference sessions. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, I see. So basically for everyone, like asked about it because you know that right now there are a few other events which are like, now the Swedish word comes to me, like they exist in the world, existiende. So yeah, there are other events like which are here, but to me, the World Perfumery Congress is totally unique, just because it's like what you've said. You worked previously with the restaurants in your previous job, more on the restaurant side, as you've said, and now you're closer to what brings ingredients to the restaurants eventually. And same for me with the World Perfumery Congress. Yes, we do have Exans. Yes, we do have Petit Florence, which again try to be reminiscent of World Perfumery Congress to me. I mean, now they also have like panel experts, they have sessions, they do have all that kind of stuff. But like the roots seem to be are a little bit further from them than from you, because you do, like, you are the roots probably, and the people who you work with are exactly those who produce what is going to be in the restaurant business further on.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for that compliment on World Perfumery Congress. But yeah, we're a lot of these stands have the direct source to lavender fields, and they're showing you kind of what those latest ingredients are. And if you can't get that here, you can try this. And so I think for those makers who want to see where things come from and talk to people how things are sourced, which is also a really big topic right now, where are my ingredients being sourced and how, this is a really important place to be, to get to see the behind the scenes and get to be face to face with people who maybe you've been emailing and you don't know what their face looks like. So now you get to introduce yourself, or maybe you're a perfumer looking for a position. All of the major fragrance houses are there, and you also will get to meet, your fellow colleagues. So, yeah, it's a really great place to not only get to see the ingredients and technologies that are new out there, but also learn from people who've been in the industry for decades and have so much they're willing to give, either on stage or off stage.
Thank you for these comments. And yeah, I also remember 6 years ago, it was so long ago. But indeed, by the way, I visited as a student at that time. And I really appreciated that it was possible for this category of people to, again, visit for a reduced price and, also see everything you've just mentioned. And I know that this year is also possible for students as well to visit the events and to write to you directly. Jenna, I'm a student. I do need to see all that.
Absolutely. And even if if you're a student and you want to just walk around all day and explore, we really just kind of need confirmation that you're a student. Great. And then, or if you'd like to volunteer and you want to see more behind the scenes of the event, you can do that too. So
yeah, it was my next question. Yeah. Yeah. Because
okay.
I do remember volunteers from the first event. They were so first for me, they were so lovely. Yeah. So,
Good. Yeah. We can always use people to pass out samples, which is so great, or, direct people or come through. We'll figure it out. But if that's something that anyone is interested in, I'm happy to facilitate.
do you have a big team right now supporting you, or yeah? Because it seems like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. We have, I would call it like a small but mighty team. Everyone is really excited to get to it. We're also working with the American Society of Perfumers to put this on. So they've been really great in talking about, what's relevant right now and maybe who we should be looking out for as far as who should take the stage. So it's been a real team effort to get this together, but I mean, we're 3 months away now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And you're also in May already as an editor.
don't bring that up. Yeah, so technically I only have 1 month. No, but it's been a really great time, and I'm excited to actually see all of it come together after all of this work we've put into it.
Yeah, and also like the first congress in Europe after the COVID and everything, because like
True.
6 years ago we just had it, and yeah.
Right. It's wild too because I remember in Miami, a lot of people just couldn't come, whether they weren't comfortable or they weren't able to travel yet. So that's something too. So this will be really robust, and I'm excited to see all of my friends who I haven't seen in a while. So it'll be good.
And now I feel like I also need to register. Yeah, I mean, not that I wasn't.
I have a press pass with your name on it, so just let me know.
Sounds beautiful. Thank you, Jenna. Wow. I could not ask before the Blitz section. Have you already planned a vacation after the event? Or are you staying in Europe or?
I would love that. I wish. I feel like my brain isn't even there yet, but yeah, I think that will be much needed. We'll figure it out. I was just in LA for a few days. I was in Los Angeles for 3 days or for a week and a half, sorry. And I came back kind of rested, but almost more tired. So we'll see.
Right.
Maybe I'll do that again.
Yeah, I know. It's like there are two, to me at least, two different types of vacation. Like the one when you really don't do anything, and the one which is very active, very inspiring, but not very resting.
No, right. I come back, you can't tell, but internally I feel better. So maybe that's enough.
Yeah, sometimes it's enough. I would agree. Well, Jenna, many thanks for your answers, but I have a few more questions.
Oh, okay. All right, let's do it.
Those are going to be sort of blitz questions. So you could answer the first thing which comes to your mind, but feel free to think it over because they seem like blitz questions. But if you've never thought about them, they might not be like that on the surface.
Okay.
Yeah. So number one, favorite fragrance.
Oh my gosh, my favorite fragrance. Jeez. Well, I think that I'm just gonna go nostalgic with this, and maybe I hope you've experienced this. When I was in middle school, Bath and Body Works had gourmand fragrances really coming out. So it was like sweet pea and cucumber melon. Did you have these?
I didn't.
Oh my gosh.
They haven't been that popular, I guess, in Russia where I was at that time. But yeah.
So no. But in the girls' locker rooms, like after gym class, all you would smell was sweet pea and cucumber melon. And I think that those will forever be ingrained in my brain. So I would say that as far as like favorite nostalgic fragrance goes, that's kind of my favorite.
Yeah, well, sounds cool.
For better or
sounds
worse.
Cool. Number two, top ingredient in let's say in fragrances right now, or maybe the most interesting to you, like to see whether it's gonna work, whether it's gonna be popular.
I was just speaking with Henri Blanc from DSM Firmenich, who's a principal perfumer there. She's amazing. And she brought up a really good point with Gen Z right now. They're kind of flipping all of these gender normativities because everything can just be gender neutral now. But she says that she's seeing a lot of, men more wearing florals and wearing rose, where women are wearing vetiver and musk. So
totally.
I love that happening because it doesn't matter what it is. If it fits you, if you love the way that you smell, then that should be the way that things go. So I think that that's been a really interesting change in what's trending right now.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, I mean, my favorite fragrance is a vetiver one, so yeah, discontinued unfortunately, but was originally made for men by again DCM Feminist by Feminist without DCM, but yeah, because it's a new, very nice and lovely
Merger.
company for Feminist.
Yeah.
So your guilty pleasure fragrance, anything like you feel it's so bad to tell in public that you like it and you wear it, but you still have it.
Like it and wear it and still have it. That's interesting. I think, I mean, I think, and I'll bring it back to probably high school again, just because so many people usually say that it's bad or say that it's with a bad association. Axe body spray. I love Axe body spray.
The gourmand one or not? Because that's the only one I know.
Oh, I don't know. I
There
think
was
the
something
original,
chocolatey.
no, not that one. I mean, I'm not proud of it, but it's just something that brings me back to being like, oh my gosh, I'm in high school and all of these new boys are around. So maybe that's my problem of my
It's not a
idea of
problem. It's so
guilty.
beautiful that you know and you could tell about it. Yeah. All right. If you could create a signature scent for Perfumer&Flavorist Plus, what would it smell like?
Jeez Louise, this is going to be hard. These are good questions. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. I would probably do something, I'll just kind of do more like notes maybe. So maybe like a citrusy kind of note to keep things like bright and fresh, just because we like to touch on all the latest topics in the industry. But
Good.
I'd also kind of like to do something like a little bit more refined because we've been around for like a century or more than a century. So it has to be something that has a little bit. So I don't know if all of these things will go together, but maybe like a vanilla, because whenever I think vanilla, I think kind of like refined.
And also paper smells with vanilla, to me at least.
Right. Yes. Oh, like that. Yeah, I think I'll probably do something like that. Something a little bit refined, but also bright and can kind of shake things up. So I'll say like a citrusy vanilla, if that's okay.
Sounds great to me. I don't think we need to add anything else. Of course, there will be some other base notes because how else? But anyways, yeah.
I'll leave that to the professionals.
Yeah, right. So maybe you remember a favorite article you've written or edited for Perfumer&Flavorist Plus. Something like I have personally an episode I've been working for more than a week just to edit it. And it's not my favorite, but it was so important to do that, so I remember it. Maybe something else for you.
Oh my gosh, I feel that same way about so many things that I'm like, why is this taking so long? But I want to make sure that all the care goes into it. Oh, that's hard. I think that I'll pick a moment that I was maybe most proud of myself in this industry, which was when I went to do the panel for IFRA for their global summit. And they asked me to come and talk about kind of the consumer side. And I was practicing all of my answers, all like, because I got asked maybe like 3 weeks before I went. So I only had 3 weeks to kind of prepare. I was kind of told my questions. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. This is going to be great. I get on stage. They asked the first question and then they opened it up to the audience. So everything was just audience questions. But it all worked out. And I was really proud of myself for like being prepared and like flying to Geneva and like doing this panel. But for the first time ever for Perfumer&Flavorist Plus, we've never been incorporated in an IFRA Global Summit. So that was a big deal. But that was like anxiety at an all-time high. But that's probably what I was.
Over top of your head, yeah, because it seems like that. The last question for now. You're doing fantastic. What advice or what piece of advice would you give to aspiring writers or professionals who want to write maybe for your magazine or for other magazines, like future journalists maybe?
Yeah, I love that question. Well, I think that, if you're still in the beginning stages, if you're still in school, to find a mentor. I was really lucky to find a mentor who worked at a newspaper. She had worked there maybe like 10 years. She had left that company maybe 10 years before I met her, but she knew how to write for them if I ever wanted to pitch something. She kind of gave me those tips of what I needed to learn and what I needed to kind of hone in on for my skills. So if you find someone who's already been where you've been or been where you'd like to go, make that your mentor. I would say I recently read some of my old writing, which has been very hard to look at. But that's important just to see where you've been and where you've gone. Read a lot, especially if you want to write for a certain publication, kind of see what their voice is like. And it also helps you like learn new words about the industry that you're into. But if you're looking to write for Perfumer and Flavorist Plus specifically, I would just go through our website and kind of see, is there anything missing that you want to talk about? Look at our media calendar. Do you have a relationship with a perfumer that you could do an interview with? I don't think enough people pitch that, to do an interview with someone from the fragrance industry. And it's kind of hard to get in to get those connections. But if that's something that you want and something that I can help facilitate, please reach out. I'm always open to helping journalists. So, yeah, any way that I can facilitate that, I'm happy to. Or even if, you send in a pitch and it's not a perfect fit, I can kind of help you tailor that or tell you who else would be a better fit for that article.
Feels like we have an angel in our podcast today. Jenna, I couldn't be more thankful to you for all your answers. And it's so great to have you and meet you. I'm very happy to say thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I was so pleased when you reached out. So happy to be here.